Hello Pen members, I want to take a few moments in this video and chat about filters. Primarily making this video as an answer to many of your fantastic questions when I recently posted about a new line of magnetic filters being launched and how I was a fan. I've been using these filters for the last couple of months and I want to talk a little bit about them, but more generally I want to talk a little bit about why you might want an ND filter or a circular polarizer or both, and how to figure out what sizes need and what system you might want to buy into. So let's chat about filters. If I'm heading out on a landscape trip like this Iceland trip that I'm wrapping up right now, and I do apologize for the audio quality, I'm just filming this in a hotel room that doesn't have the best acoustics. But if I'm heading out on a landscape trip, I am going to bring with me an ND filter, probably a couple of various strengths, and a circular polarizer. Now an ND filter is simply sunglasses for your camera. Goes on the end of your lens and it blocks an amount of light from reaching the sensor. This allows you to do longer exposures than you would be able to do otherwise without the filter. Now ND filters often come in several different strengths, the most common being a 3-stop, a 6-stop, and a 10-stop. That is to say, if you put a 10-stop on your lens, you would be able to shoot a shutter speed 10 stops slower than if you didn't use that filter. A lot of times people use these to be able to do longer exposures during the daytime or even the evening or early in the morning that allow you to do a couple of seconds so that flowy water that might be running through your landscape picture suddenly becomes very smooth and flowy looking. That can be a nice effect. That's not what you always want to do with water and waterfalls, but sometimes it can look great. You could also do the same with clouds, doing a longer exposure that as that cloud moves through the image over the course of a long exposure, it starts to streak and almost blur and soften. And that can be a very nice look. Those are kind of the common uses of ND filters. You could also do waves on a beach and waves crashing on rocks. But there are a lot of really fun creative uses that you can use an ND filter for as well. Now the other filter I mentioned, a circular polarizer, or CPL for short, is a filter that I think the simplest way to say it is it changes the properties of light entering your camera, or maybe you should say blocks certain light. It cuts reflections, and through that cutting of reflections, it will deepen the blues in your photo and deepen the greens of your photo, which when you think about a lot of landscape pictures, they usually have a lot of blue and green in them, and if you could make those a little richer and poppier, a little more saturated, then that is probably a good thing. Now a CPL filter can sometimes give you an unnatural look, so you do always have to be careful when using it. But those filters, an ND and a circular polarizer in combination, are great tools to have as a landscape photographer. Now let's talk about how to attach these filters to your lens and the related question, what size filters do you need? So filter size is measured in millimeters, and you simply need to know your largest lens's size to decide what filter size you should buy. The easiest way to do that is to look under the cap. Most of the time under the cap is the size printed. If you don't see it there, well, you can simply look your lens up on B&H and then look at the accessories page to see what filter sizes they suggest. That's another easy way to do that. Now, before you purchase though, I want you to take a moment and peer into the future, because the largest size lens you have now might not be the largest size lens you have in the future. So you want to buy to future-proof these filters, or you want to buy in a way to future-proof these filters. So you should buy for the largest lens that you will probably own in the future, and then you can buy step-up rings to use on your other lenses that are smaller. So for instance, this is an 82 millimeter 24 to 70 lens, 82 millimeters out at the end. That's the filter size I need for that. But I also own this 100 to 400 that has a 77 millimeter filter size. So I don't have to buy different filters for each, because there are things like step-up rings. This small piece of anodized aluminum allows me to screw on this adapter that goes from 72 to 82. Once that is attached, then I can use my 82 millimeter filters on this lens. It's very nice. That's a step up ring. Do not buy step down rings. They're not good. Now let's talk about how to actually add these filters to your lens. The most common way is to simply screw them on. This is an 82mm filter, and I am simply screwing it on to the end of my lens where there are filter threads. You always want to do this fairly carefully. It's possible to get filters stuck on the ends of lenses. Now, this is what I just demonstrated. A round filter screwed directly onto the lens. Of course, if you have a different size lens, first you are going to attach one of the adapters, the step-up ring, and then you're going to screw on that filter size. Now, another option that we could talk about is a square filter set. Nissi and Lee are some of the common manufacturers of square sets. I've talked a lot about Nissi in the past. I've been a fan. What you do is you screw on a holder, and then that holder will allow you to position plates of glass in front of the lens. The holder is typically sized for 82mm. So again, if you have smaller lenses, you're going to use a step-up ring again to attach that holder. Now, these square filter sets offer great flexibility. You can stack different strengths, and you can even use graduated ND filters, and all of this together will never vignette, which is nice. But I dislike the bulk of the system, and they're a little bit fiddly. Those things cause me to leave it at home more often than I like. And if you're leaving a product at home, then, well, you really probably shouldn't own it. Now, a third option, and my favorite currently, is a magnetic filter set. I'm not holding a step-up ring in my hand. I'm holding a small magnetic adapter. You attach this to your lens. And you can either buy different size magnetic adapters for your different lenses, or again, you can buy the largest and then use the step-up rings. Once you've attached this small magnetic ring, the filters then just pop on magnetically. It's very nice. Now, this is my favorite because most of the sets currently sold is a complete set, in my opinion. It comes with everything that most landscape photographers are going to need. That is a circular polarizer, a 3, a 6, and a 10 stop ND, and some of the sets even include a magnetic filter cap, which can be very handy to quickly pop your cap on, just like that. And these sets are often very travel friendly, which is a huge bonus in my opinion, and they're also really easy to use and switch on and off. And those two things combined, the travel friendliness plus that ease of use, makes it just that much more likely that you will use. Now, it is important to note that with any of the circular filters, screw-on or magnetic, as you start to stack, and it is possible to stack them, I often do. In this case, I'm going to put on a 3-stop plus a circular polarizer. So now I have 2 filters on the end of this, and it is possible to get some slight vignetting in the corners when you start to stack 2 or more filters. And as I said, I'm often doing this, a circular polarizer and an ND filter. If I do see some vignetting, it's something to watch for. I'm just going to try to shoot a little bit wider to compensate. So I mentioned at the beginning of this video that I was prompted to make this because you all asked great questions in response to my sharing that Michael Maven is launching a new line of color-coded magnetic filters that I've been testing for the last couple of months, and I found to be excellent. I really, really like them. And while they're on Kickstarter for the next 30-ish days from the time of this video, they're being sold at quite a discount. So that's a good value. And I hope that this video can answer many of your questions about filters. And if not, if there's something else that should be covered, if you need specific filter recommendations, please just reach out to us. That's why we're here. Thank you so much for being a member. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.